almost immediately, when Parliament adjourned, Rishi Sunak jetted off straight to California. Now, myself and many other people who look at politics thought, why on earth? Why on earth is Rishi Sunak jetting off to California? You have a party that is completely and internally in disarray. You barely managed to win this tri-election, just barely by 400 votes, managing to keep Uxbridge. But by means, that is no certain way to win the next election. After all, the whole ULEZ extension is what, maybe 5, 6 extra seats? And even then, that was only by like 400 votes. The party was in turmoil. There had been no real guidance, no real policy proposals put forward. No one was even sure in the Conservative Party, even in the government, what on earth they were going to do. And yet Sunak just jets away, leaving the party in absolute pure chaos. And I just want to go over something that John Kreese wrote about Sunak as well in a bit. We'll go over that in a bit, but I do very much agree that as soon as Sunak re-landed, he has had just bad week after bad week after bad week. And oh boy, if you were a Tory hoping that Sunak would revitalize your poll numbers, the new poll puts you out even lower than you were last week. Even lower than you were last week. This isn't good. Not only that, but many Conservative voters are still bearing a grudge about the fact that they did not get a chance to vote, to put, or at least to cast their vote as to who they wanted. And it seems they are going to stay at home at the next general election, or they're not voting Conservative. And if you're Rishi Sunak and you're in this situation, your California dream that you were having came to a quick, abrupt end. The second he returned. So before we just go reading two of these extracts, I think it really sums up the situation Rishi Sunak's in this, because he's not in a good situation at all. Please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. Of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And of course, as always, thank you very much to all the people who do help and support the channel that way. So we're going to kick off by covering this, because this sums up, I think, the sense that was meant to be the saving grace for Rishi Sunak. It was meant to be the saving grace. Sunak was coming to save them all. So ever since he returned from holiday in Santa Monica, Rishi Sunak has been overwhelmed with a sense of despair, a futility no number of sessions on his Peloton could erase. He was meant to be living his best life, the tech bro turned prime minister, the man who fell to earth to save the UK from Boris Johnson and Liz Truss. Where was the gratitude for all he had done? At best, the country was totally indifferent to his efforts. At worst, it was hostile. And that's the sense you really do see. That Sunak is we've had small boats week, which ended up in absolute pure disaster, which Suella Braverman pretty much responsible for. And with now rumors that she might be on the out. But I've said this many times. Without her support, Sunak would not have been able to secure the win he did against Boris Johnson. Her support was essential in bringing the right wing of the Tory party over to his side. If he had not approached Suella Braverman, if he had not brought her on side, then that entire right wing would not have voted for him, and we would have ended up in a Tory leadership contest to which Boris Johnson would have returned. And then I highly expect that the whole COVID investigation that he went through, and of course, lying went through, the whole recommendation about him going for, being suspended. I mean, it would have been interesting to see if that would have happened. We'd been certainly in a huge constitutional mess, that's for sure. But that's what many people do see what would have potentially happened if she hadn't, gone up to Sunak and Sunak had sort of brought her into the fold. And now the right wing hate Rishi Sunak. And if he gets rid of her, then all bets are off. And you've got a weak prime minister, an incredibly weak prime minister, with what is a very, very weak hold on his reason for power. The fact that he was meant to be the one restoring stability. Well, might the right then go, you're not the person to lead the Tory party anymore, and just start openly rebelling and just causing chaos? They might do. That's the danger that Rishi Sunak is in. It's not the only thing, because if you're Rishi Sunak now, what do you do? What are you meant to do? We've said it a couple of times on this channel that Rishi Sunak, if he wants to survive, if he generally wants to survive, he's going to restore some order. And at every single moment where opportunities to restore order, to stamp his authority on the party have come in, he's failed at every single opportunity to do so. He's a weak prime minister who has done nothing. And the polls look awful. And trust me, the Tory party knows these polls very well. So the question is, when should we say Rishi Sunak's safety period from the 1922 committee comes up in end of September, beginning of October? Could it be all bets are off? And I'll tell you now, as we've said before, if Sunak does not perform at the conference, he is going to have to give the performance of a lifetime. Otherwise, if the Conservative Party comes away from the Conservative Party conference with a sense of doom and foreboding, then general election early next year. Let's just get this over with. Because every single poll has just been doom, 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 doom. And remember, Rishi Sunak was billed as the only guy who could save the party from this. It's really not looking good for Sunak. And to be honest, when this is all over, Sunak won't care. He'll just get to go back to, probably living in California. After all, he's got the whole green card, hasn't he? So it probably will. He'll probably be very thankful that he managed to get out of it when he did. But he's certainly not going to be loved by the Tory party for quite some time, that's for sure. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.